Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel for another Minecraft tutorial for the Bedrock Edition. I'm your host BJ, and today I'm going to show you my take on a highly efficient, maximum yield iron farm for Minecraft 1.16 on Windows 10, Xbox, PS4, and other Bedrock editions. Before I get started on materials, I want to recognize that while I think this is a unique take on how this farm is built and functions, the foundation of the functionality comes from others in the Minecraft community, like my TB server mates Silent Whisperer, Prowl, Groova, and Rogue, and from other great Bedrock creators like Old Guy, who has done a ton of work on understanding villager mechanics and massive multi-farm creations. Now, on to the materials list. Let's start with the foundation. First, you'll need a good number of solid blocks, not slabs, to build the framework and the floors of the farm, and really any full solid block will do just fine. I'm using iron and our new netherite block, both because they're easy to see in the video for counting and because it feels like just a little bit of a flex using the netherite blocks. You'll need about 23 to 24 stacks. Next, we have the job site blocks that you'll need for your villagers. Any full block will do, although it's possible something like the grindstone would work fine. I just recommend using full blocks. Generally, the loom is the least expensive job site block, but that might depend on other things you have going on in your world. You might have other materials. It doesn't really matter what job your villagers have, but they will need direct access to the job site blocks, which we'll talk about in more detail as we're building the villager pods. You'll need about 20 of these, although I recommend making a few more just in case ahead of time. In addition to the job site blocks, you'll need beds for the villagers to link up to help establish an actual village. Any color is fine, and you'll need about 20 of them. Next, we have trapdoors, which will be used to contain the villagers, and you'll need at least 8, but I'd recommend just a few more. Then we have the blocks that we'll be using to prevent spawning on the edges, so any non-spawnable block will work just fine. I'm using leaves on the lower level and glass blocks on the upper level, just to give you an idea of what they both look like, but either one of them will work. You'll need about 4 stacks of this block. When we get to the kill chamber, you'll need about a stack of blocks to build the walls, and in this case, I'm using glass so you can more easily see what's going on. You'll also need magma blocks for the bottom of the kill chamber, but you'll only need about 9 of those. As far as lighting up the build, it's as much an aesthetic thing as another layer to help prevent spawning. I used glowstone in my build, but you can really use any solid lighting block, and you'll need about 16 of those. To store your 380 to 400 ingots an hour, you'll need 1 hopper, a hopper minecart, and for temporary installation, you'll need 1 rail and 1 sticky piston. There are other methods out there to set hopper minecarts and solid blocks, but I found this piston method is very easy to use and I think you'll like it. You'll also need a lever or a redstone block to activate the piston. Next, you'll need 2 to 4 buckets of water and a water source to refill the buckets. Because of this step in the design, you'll have to place every individual water source, which is a bit of a drag, but it is what it is. This can of course be done with buckets, but you can also use ice. You'll need 3 stacks of ice blocks for this build if you're not going to use the water. I'm showing a packed ice block right here, but that's just so it doesn't melt in this particular video, but you'll need regular ice, which you can see through like this. Lastly, you'll need 1 bucket of lava for the kill chamber, 6 to 8 wooden signs, and at least 2 chests. There are some great auto-sorting storage systems out there, and I'd recommend both Prowl and Rogue's videos on auto-sorting. Those are linked in the comment cards and in the description below. That'll do it for the main building materials, although it's possible I'll end up using 1 or 2 different blocks in the build as I work on it. So just check in the description below for a complete block list and estimated counts, just in case I do something like that. Now let's get into building the framework for the farm. Before we get into the actual build, let's talk a little bit about chunk alignment first. It's not as critical on this build as it is on some others, but I recommend putting in just a little bit of work up front to help make sure it runs as smoothly as possible. I'm using a behavior pack called Cross-Platform Chunk Visualizer so that you can see the chunk edges. There are a lot of ways to identify where chunks exist, and Silent has an excellent tutorial on it that I'll link to in the description below. I've located the 4 central blocks of this chunk and then overlaid the central block of the iron farm, along with a glass surround in place of the netherite that you'll see on the build here in just a few minutes. I recommend that the center block of the farm be located in one of those 4 central blocks in a given chunk at any elevation that works for your farm. If you do that, you can see that the 4 villager pods represented by the spruce trapdoors are all easily within the same chunk. Again, it may not be necessary, but it's the best practices for Bedrock. Now, onto the build. We start at the single central keystone block and surround it with 8 more sacrificial blocks. They'll be removed later, and then we build out from one edge 9 blocks, and then up 1, removing the 9th block, and then over 4 blocks, and then up 1, removing the 4th block. That'll leave 8 blocks in the lower terrace, 3 blocks in the upper terrace, and 1 block as an edge for the water basin. And repeat this on all 4 sides. Next, we want to complete the outer rim, which will give the farm its outer limit of 27 blocks by 27 blocks. After the rim is complete, let's fill in the upper 3 block wide terrace all the way around. Because the terrace is only 3 blocks wide, this is why we'll need to add a water block against each upper wall. Water will follow the path of least resistance, so when it only has to go 3 blocks instead of spreading 8 wide, it will go in a single block wide straight path. You could add temporary blocks to the drop edge to trick the water, but it's likely a similar amount of work anyway. Now we just need to fill in the main floor area with solid blocks, which is pretty straightforward. You probably don't actually need a tutorial for this part, but we're almost done, so hang in there. Next, we'll need to build the upper tray, which is just a repeat of the first one. Go to the center and go up 4 spacer blocks and then add a 5th one, off of which the rest of the upper tray will be built. Now, just do the whole thing again. And since you've already done this once, we'll speed it up a little bit and maybe add in some jump cuts and some music, so enjoy. Now that the framework is complete, we need to prepare the trays for water, light it up, and spawn-proof it. Start with the water, and to make a 27 by 27 tray work, we'll need to add some blocks to each of the corners. Start with one on the top of the corner wall, add 2 blocks to either side of it, then 1 block on the floor in the corner. 1 on top, then 2 on each side, 1 on the corner, just like that. Now, do that for all 4 corners on both trays. We're getting there. Now, let's slide it up a bit. I'm adding glowstone to each corner and then replacing the center blocks aligned with the keystone block in the middle on both the upper and lower trays. Lastly, for this section, we need to spawn-proof the edges. You just need to place a spawn-proof block on top of all the blocks on the edges of the trays. In this case, I'm using leaves for the lower trays and glass for the upper ones, but you can use the same on both if you want. I'm just showing you how they look. Now we need to build the kill chambers so that as we add beds, job sites, villagers, we have a place for all the cats and golems to go to keep the farm clear. I'm using glass as you can see, but you can use any solid block. Now I'll go ahead and break out all these central blocks that we've talked about getting rid of to begin with. That'll help by letting in some light as we complete the rest of the glass chamber. So go ahead and complete the top like this, and then we're gonna go down 6 total blocks, 5, 6, and do that on all 4 corners. Go ahead and connect the bottom around like this so that we have a kind of a complete cage of glass. There you go, down 1 more like that. Complete the bottom of it here so we can go ahead and get in the magma blocks now and get in the 9 that we need down here like so. Now we need to go ahead and put in the hopper and the 2 chests here so we have some place for all the drops to go. And now let's put in the piston. So I'll show you how this works. Drop the piston in there, break out this glass so we can move the magma block. Go ahead and place your rail, place your cart on top of that, and then a lever on this magma block right here. And then go ahead and flip the switch so the piston extends and the cart will drop down into the solid block just like that. Now grab your glass block, close that off, take out the piston and the lever and replace it with the magma block like that. And now you have the basic kill floor completed. Now let's go ahead and complete the bottom part of the glass surround here so we can get the water in. Now place the water in the opposite corner right over here. And this will have all the water and all the drops will be flowing down into that minecart, capturing everything we need to. Now let's go ahead and complete the glass surround. There we go, all done. Now we need to put the lava in. So you start with a sign right here, and a second sign on that will help set it in the middle. And then you need to place all the ones on the blocks around it so that it creates a block in the center where we can place our lava without it flowing anywhere else. So you just place it right on top of the sign, grab that, on top of the sign right there. And now you have 1 block of lava. Let's go ahead and close in this opening here so we don't fall down in the lava while we're working. All right, now we need to get placing the bed. So come down 2 blocks, break 1 off there. And then we're gonna go 2 blocks wide. You can kind of see the 2 blocks surrounding the 3x3 opening above it. You don't want any of the blocks out into the opening. We wanna come 2 blocks back. This is where we're going to be setting our beds, and just go ahead and complete this all the way around. All right, there we go. Now you can come up here and see where the beds are going to go. And now we need to start placing some of our job site blocks. So come to the center and then kind of scooch up here, go 1 block there, and then go 1, 2 over, knock it out and put 1 in here. Do the same thing from the center, 2 blocks over, knock it out and put in one of your job site blocks. And then you'll knock out these blocks next to it and place a spruce trapdoor or any kind of trapdoor you want at the top of that. But we're gonna break this one out because there's a certain order in which we need to do this. And it's very important that we take our time and do 1 pod at a time. Let's put the trapdoor in and make sure and place it on the bottom of that block, not 1 block down. And now we can go ahead and start placing our beds for this 1 pod. And actually, we can go ahead and do our beds for all of them. It doesn't really matter. As long as they're within 16 blocks of a bed, they should be able to link to it. It's not nearly as fussy and as critical as doing the job site blocks. 3, 4, 5, just like that. Now we can go ahead and bust out all of these blocks that are down below because the beds are set. And then we can start working on getting our villagers into the first pod. Now it's critical we only do 1 pod at a time with 5 individual job site blocks so that they can link individually to them 1 at a time. Before we import the villagers, we need to place the water, because when we add the villagers and they start linking to beds and workstations, we'll start getting cat spawns. So starting on the corner block, place one bucket of water and then skip one block and place the next water source. Skipping one block is critical to not creating a cascade of water source blocks. And then you can keep placing them every block until you get to the next corner. Skip one block and then place it on the corner. Now break out that corner block, and I forgot to break this one out. Break out that corner block as well, and then just continue this all the way around. Skip that first one, and then go ahead and keep placing them. Oh, there's a great example of what happens when you miss one. You can just see it's only one line, but you can go back and fill those in pretty easy, no problem. Now that we have the water in, let's go ahead and set up the other two locations on the other side. So we'll come back over to the other side, keep it in line, step back one block, and then put a spruce trapdoor up there. Keep the other one lined up as well, and then knock that block out and put in a spruce trapdoor there. We still have to do one pod at a time, but now we can go ahead and start placing villagers into this first pod. Now, if you need to, you can go ahead and keep that water running and then come back in here and block off the water sources by just putting a couple of blocks around either side of the trapdoor, and then you can open it up. And then you can come and start placing villagers down into the pods. Just do one at a time, and then sit here and wait for the first one to link. You'll have to just wait a second. We're just waiting for the little green sparkles, and there they are. So now he is a shepherd. Perfect. Now we just need to go ahead and start adding in the other 4 villagers per pod. There's 2, and he got green sparkles. Now we'll go ahead and do 3, and there's always a troublemaker, isn't there? Come on, get in, go, troublemaker, go, come on, go. Fine, maybe do it the hard way. There's 4 and 5. Perfect, that was easy. Let's go ahead and clear out the rest of these blocks and get this thing closed. There we go. Now we can clear the blocks out and move on to the next one. Now we just need to copy the same job site configuration with 1 up and 4 down. So let's put 1 there. Oh, I'll block that one out, put a second one in, and then we can do 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Now we just need to put the trapdoor. Make sure you put it on the bottom again so that the golems don't get trapped on it. And then we can go up and start getting the villagers into this one. Let's go ahead and block off the water. Open that trapdoor. Now we can start placing these guys. Oh, there's a cat already spawning. Like I said, you get this first 5 in and you're already getting cat spawning. Well, let's go ahead and break this out really quick so that we can get them down in and out of the mob cap and see how that works. All right, perfect. Now let's, since we got spawns going, let's go ahead and do our water down here really quick as well. All right, water's done and we are good to go. Oh, we got cats dropping from the skies. Sorry, buddies. Now let's go ahead and place the villagers. We got 1. Yep, change it to a shepherd. He links. Let's go ahead and do 2. And shepherd, and he linked. There's 3, and he linked. And 4, she linked. And 1 more, 5, and she linked up as well. Perfect. We got 5 villagers in there. Let's go ahead and just close the trapdoor. And come on, there we go. Break these blocks out and move on to the next one. We'll have to start keeping an eye out for golem spawns because they might. Oh, there's one that's already spawned, and he's down there dying. All right, we already got some iron going. Let's go ahead and get our 3rd pod going there. Let's place that block, and then let's go ahead and do a 2nd one there, and 3, 4, and 5, and then put in the trapdoor. It's a little harder with the water going, but I think we need it running. There you go. Let's go ahead and place the blocks around it so we can keep the water out of it while we drop the villagers in. Open the trapdoor, and let's go ahead. 1. They're changed. All right, he's linked. There's 2. Oh, look at fish going. Look at that. That's the problem with building above the ocean, is it does turn into a fish farm as well. Or that could be a good thing, depending on what you want, I suppose. But let's go ahead and get the 2nd one in here right there. All right, see him link up. Perfect. Let's do 3. Let's see if she links up. Yep, perfect. Gotta do 4. Come on, 1 more. Gotta get that edge right there. Come on. There's 4. Okay. Yep, she linked. Let's do 1 more, and we'll have 5 in here. And there's number 5. Perfect. Let's close the door. 1 more pod to go. We got 2, 3, 4, 5. Put in the trapdoor. Let's block this off. Open the trapdoor there and start placing our little villagers in here. There's 1 linked. Let's see. There's 2. Come on. There we go. Right there. 2. There's linked pretty quick. Let's do 3. Linked up. Perfect. And 4. All right, 1 more and we'll have it. Just watching them. There we go, 5. And I really recommend taking your time for sure and making sure that they all link. It's critical. There we go. And that about does it. We have a completely functional iron farm now in Bedrock Edition 1.16. You can see we got all this stuff in here. Had a rail, but that was from earlier work. But there you go. We got cats coming down, we have fish coming down, we have golems dropping up to about 400 ingots an hour. It's practically an everything farm, sort of. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, if you found it useful, or if you just want to tell me how you're feeling today, please leave a comment on the video, or at the very least, a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps out my channel, and I very much appreciate it. That'll do it for today's tutorial. If you have any other tutorials that you'd love to see, please let me know in the comments, or stop by my Discord link below and let me know how this worked for you. Thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.